Hello and welcome to Superpower the Show. I'm Nick Hare.
And I'm Regina Joseph.
And we'll be bringing you the latest forecasts and trends in politics, economics, technology, and anything else that's interesting. We've got a slightly different format this week. We've already uploaded our signals of the week, so check those out if you haven't seen them. And this week we'll just be focusing on our Dare to be Embarrassed segment, where we make and track a forecast on an issue suggested by our viewers. So leading on from our signals, which were about regulations on automated vehicles and the possible rise of union power, this week we'll be looking at the Google antitrust inquiry being conducted by the European Commission.
That's right, Nick. It's been a tough week for the Silicon Valley behemoth Google. A report released by the online review site Yelp and co-authored by the legal expert Tim Wu. Tim Wu is the guy who coined the term net neutrality, and he's also the author of a fantastic book called The Master Switch. This report states that Google knowingly and unequivocally manipulates search results to favor its partners. This publication comes out at a particularly bad time for Google, as Europe is intensifying its antitrust case against the search giant. Google also lost a Supreme Court case which upheld a decision for Google competitor Oracle last week. This case upheld copyright protections for certain types of programming instructions, which is a factor that could seriously eat into Google's Android profits. Android, the mobile phone operating system, uses many of these copyright protected programming instructions. So despite Google putting on a very serious charm offensive in Europe, the evidence is starting to mount against them rather than for them. So the forecasting question all of this, Nick, is will Google settle with the European Commission over charges of search antitrust violations before the 1st of December 2015? Personally, I think that the last thing Google wants is to see opposition placed on the stand in Europe, armed with all sorts of evidence. So my forecast is that they will want to settle this as quickly and as quietly as possible. So I'm actually going to start high on this forecast at 75%. So what about you, Nick? What do you think?
Yeah, well, my answer to this question isn't really based on the case or Google or anything else. It's based on looking at the European Commission and how the European Commission tends to behave. Now, they've just lodged the formal objection about Google, and they've got something like 10 weeks to prepare a defence. But to put this into context, when they lodged the formal objections about Microsoft's bundling of Internet Explorer into Windows, that was 2009, and they didn't come to a judgment until 2013. And I looked at a few other cases, and essentially they're either very short cases and they're settled very quickly, or they drag on for several years. So Google seems to think it's got a strong defence here, and on balance I don't really see it's got much to lose by not fighting the charges. So I think this case is really going to drag on. My feeling is that the chance of it concluding by December is only about 20%.
Okay, pretty big disparity between our forecasts there, but as time goes on, we'll see. I know that Google has, I believe, until mid-August to respond, that the European Commission will be allowing their lawyers to review up until mid-August, which, practically speaking, doesn't give them that much time, and there's a lot of evidence in those dossiers, in that dossier, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how Google deals with that. So any other thoughts before we sign off for this week, Nick? Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us, and again, stay tuned on our YouTube channel, plus also our Signal Shorts, which we'll be releasing every week or so. And we ask you to send us your comments, send us your ideas for forecasting questions via either our Twitter feed, which is @super_powered, or via our Facebook page. Either way, we'd love to hear from you, so we look forward to getting that feedback, and we hope to see you next time.